Hi, hello there internet, how are you today? So today is December 15th. I've not yet watched the second episode of The L Word. I am planning on going to a bar to watch it. So I first watched the original L Word about 13 years ago. It was before Netflix had the instant view option, and it was only like that DVD mail-in service, and I watched the DVDs on Netflix and I saw the special features, and one of the special features showed how all of the other lesbians were watching the L Word, and they showed all of these really cool viewing parties. And once I heard that there was going to be another version of the L Word, I was like, I am going to a goddamn viewing party. No way, no how am I going to watch this by myself. I spent a few months Googling L Word viewing party San Francisco and coming up with nothing. I was getting pissed off because like San Francisco has this reputation of being the gay mecca of America, or at least one of the gay meccas, like up there with Los Angeles and New York City for sure. And yet I couldn't find anything, and I could find all of this shit for Los Angeles and for New York City and all of these other cities, but nothing for San Francisco, until finally I discovered that there's going to be a viewing premiere party over at Jolene. So I went there. I acquired some swag. I got this hat and I got these sunglasses, and I also got a fanny pack and one of these things. Anyway, went to Jolene's. I hoped that if I went to Jolene's early, I'd be able to find a seat. There were no chairs anywhere. It was packed. Yeah, there were a lot of people there, And you know, that's cool and everything. Like, I was talking to this one woman. She's been married for 37 years. She was there with her wife, and she was like, people told me I could watch it at home, but why would I watch it at home? I want to be here. I want to be where the energy is. I want to be able to watch it with 300 other lesbians. And I was like, yes, me too. But I also wish that it was like a more comfortable viewing experience, because I spent so much time standing up, and then after the L Word was over, they showed a work in progress, and I was like, I have to go. I was planning on watching both shows, but I couldn't stand up for both. I did camp myself over by a screen. I found another woman who was wearing the exact same t-shirt that I was wearing. I was, of course, wearing my Bet Porter for Mayor t-shirt that I got from autostraddle.com. And, you know, we got to talking about the show and about like, oh, do you also listen to the podcast on Autostraddle? So we had something in common that we could talk about, and that was very nice. But yeah, about the show, it does not start off with one of those little short film clip things that they did back in the original. It doesn't start off with these like landscape shots of Los Angeles like the original did. We just enter in on a sex scene, but you know what happened? There were 3 different screens over at Jolene's. There were 2 projectors on the other side of the room, wall to wall, packed. It was hard to walk anywhere. So I was lucky that I was close to one screen, but the screen that I was close to started late. We start off on this first scene. It's a sex scene. A lot of things went through my mind, which was, I've seen a lot of pairs of boobies on this show, but this is one of the first times that I saw boobs with brown nipples on this show, and I felt like that was an important moment in the L Word, and I'm glad that that's what opened this new sequel series. I did not register that this sex scene was going on while Sophie was on her period, because like I said, our screens started late. They were fast forwarding and pausing and all of this shit to try to get it like back on track, and so I missed some of the sex scene on the screen, and the audio and the visuals, it was still like out of sync throughout the whole rest of the show. It was like a second or 2 off, and it was like really distracting, but you know, I had to push through it. I pushed through it for the L Word. But I will say that about Sophie and Danny, I like their relationship so far. They seem like a very nice, loving couple. I happened to notice that in the trailers that we saw, some scenes that were cut.
You know what's gonna happen?
What?
Danny, you're gonna think I'm never gonna propose.
Oh, I already think that.
And one day I'm gonna pull off this elaborate move and it'll all be for you.
That conversation didn't happen. Later on, there's a proposal scene. I thought the proposal was really nice. I really like the part where Danny's having a really bad day, and then she listens to a voice message from Sophie, and that just brightens her day. They seem like a nice couple so far, but you know that some angst is heading for them, and it's heading for them quick because it's the L Word. It's a soap opera. When I first watched the trailers, my impression of what was going on was that Danny was gonna cheat on Sophie with Finley. There's a lot of women on this show with long brown hair, and I thought that the woman that I saw Finley with was Danny. I had to watch the trailer at 0.25 speed, and then I figured out that, oh yeah, that's a completely different woman. I don't even know why I mistook her for Danny in the first place, but I definitely thought that was happening. I thought that Finley was going to church. She felt all guilty. She needed Jesus because she was sleeping with her best friend's girlfriends. That's just not cool. No, she's gonna sleep with a completely different woman who we have not yet been introduced to. Yeah, it's not Danny. And she was going to church because she was raised religious, so that has not yet been brought up. I'm interested in seeing how religion's gonna play into the show because I don't know if any of the other characters in the original were religious. I know that some of their families were religious. I know that Shane went to confession that one time in season 2. And I really like this exchange between Bet and her dad in the episode Loud and Proud.
Don't you ever think about the day you're gonna stand in the judgment before God? What are you going to say to him when he opens the book of life and reads your sins?
I will say, I am your creation, and I am proud.
Like I said, we haven't yet gotten to the part where we've mentioned religion. In the trailers, a guy tells Finley to smile. She flips him off and says, "Time's up, bitch." But on the actual show, she flipped him off and said, "Time's up, jackass." When we're first introduced to Finley, she's sneaking out of another girl's house. She later tells Sophie that she and this girl fudged. So I'm guessing she doesn't really swear. She uses fake swear words instead of real ones. So maybe that's due to her religious upbringing. But also, like, there's so many different ways that you can just say we had sex that do not involve swearing or using fake swear words. We had sex. We had premarital homosexual relations. But no, she decided to go with fudged. Anyway, her car won't start, so she steals her bike and then bikes on over to Sophie and Danny's and Micah's place. And she sees a hot guy, immediately tells Micah, "This is your future husband. I've seen him. Look at what's outside the window." I'm very interested in seeing the special features when it comes out on DVD. Because again, what they showed us in the trailers is very different from what's going on in the actual show.
There's a guy moving in next door.
Hi.
I'm Finley. I don't live here. You know what? I'll come down. Go talk to him.
I don't think I can do that. He seems straight anyway.
Mike, he's gay. I asked.
This in the trailer did not happen in the show. So that means that when Micah then went over to talk to the guy, he didn't know that he was gay already. He broke Jose's window and still asked him out to dinner. And when Jose misunderstood and asked, "Oh yeah, I'll go out to dinner with you guys. What are you guys all planning on doing?" First he went along with it, and then he clarified, "Oh, you and I can go out to dinner alone." So that's pretty bold. We have not yet seen the dinner date because this episode happens over the course of like 2 days. Trying to position myself so that I don't have to deal with a glare situation. Oh, I wanted to talk about Angie. I'm currently rewatching the original series, and there were a lot of things I didn't like about the season finale of season 2, but the part that like really moves me, one was when we see Shane and Jenny in the bathroom together, and then Shane tells Jenny that Tina had her baby. I thought that was very sweet. But also when Bet introduces Angelica to all of the women, it's like one of my favorite moments in the show. She holds up Angelica and she says, "Angelica, this is your family. There's this group of women, Angelica's not blood related to any of them, but you know, they're redefining family. The first thing that Kit Porter said to Angelica when she was born was, "You're going to have a very interesting life because we are some very interesting people." And I think that that's going to be true of Miss Angie. Angie was born 14 and a half years ago in the summer of 2005, but since it's TV, she's 16 years old. She has a blue streak in her hair. She wears Converse. She skipped school with like her rebellious teen friend. We see her doodling in the middle of class. It was very important that Bet and Tina, they specifically looked only at sperm donors who were artists. So I like that those genetics carried on. I really liked her scenes with Bet. At first, she looks like the typical teenager who's just gonna leave the house without saying I love you to her mom, but then she's like, just kidding, I love you too. When she's hanging out with Jordy, she says that her phone's off because her mom tracks her, and I was like, of course Bet tracks her. She's such a control freak. I have no doubt that she would track Angelica, and then when Angelica comes home, she kind of overreacts. She looks through Angelica's things, and I was like, yes, Bet Port. I mean, no, that's not good. It's not good parenting, boundaries, and all of that shit. It's not good for the kid. It's not good for your relationship with the kid if you're too overbearing and all of that shit. But I liked it in the sense that that's very fitting in Bet's personality. So Bet is running for mayor. Truth be told, I do not care at all about the affair storyline. Whatever. I'm more concerned about the fact that this woman was an employee than the fact that she's married. And I've seen in the trailers, I feel like she's just gonna pick up where she left off with that relationship with her employee. There's so many cheating storylines in the original, and they had so many at once, and it just got so repetitive and so boring, and I'm like, find some other way to put drama into your show, because like constantly showing cheating every 5 minutes, it was annoying. And it's always like, oh my god, I couldn't help myself, my genitalia just grew legs and walked itself into another woman's mouth, or I slipped on a banana peel and landed on somebody else naked. I don't know how I ended up cheating, that's just what happened. The characters on this TV show would be a lot better off if they just made arrangements, decided for themselves, you know what, this whole monogamy thing, it's not working for me. It's just not working. Maybe we can do something besides monogamy. Maybe you can have a committed relationship that isn't monogamous, and you wouldn't feel the need to cheat because you don't have to feel dirty about being attracted to somebody. It could work in some way, is what I'm trying to say. The character especially who needs to think about this the most, definitely Shane.
Having a single mate during a period of time, does that mean anything to you?
I'm willing to try. Is that not enough? I'm willing to try something that doesn't come naturally to me, that I don't understand, but I'm willing to try.
A lot of people ship Charmin. I feel like they weren't compatible. For Carmen, it was very important for them to be monogamous. With Shane, she said that she doesn't understand it. She doesn't like it. She doesn't think that it should be a big deal. She wants to sleep with somebody else. And I'm like, you know, maybe you should just find somebody who feels the same way as you do. So I'm wondering if we're going to see that with Shane. We know that she has a wife. Sounds like they're estranged. I don't know if they were in an open relationship or if Shane sleeping around was the cause of their downfall. Whatever the fuck. We'll see what happens there. But anyway, Bet is going to be a politician, and I think that's like a perfect choice for her. It's not something that I thought of, but I recently rewatched the episode where she goes to that Senate hearing and she tells off that senator who tried to set fire to that piece of artwork that she was trying to defend.
Abject poverty is unpatriotic. The failure of our education system is unpatriotic. Lies told by presidents as justification for war
Miss Porter
is unpatriotic. It is unpatriotic that elected lawmakers failed to acknowledge, let alone address, real desperation.
She had that fiery speech, and then that other senator was like, I'm gonna fuck Bet Porter. But she did not fuck Bet Porter because Bet Porter and Tina were together, even though their relationship was not good.
Your husband is fluid as you are? My husband and I have an arrangement. about them. That's
But she and Tina don't have an arrangement. Maybe their relationship would have been more successful if they had an arrangement. Anyway, the opioid crisis. If you watched this episode and did not at some point in time consider the possibility that, hey, maybe Kit Porter is dead, maybe that's why Bet has sensitivity around the opioid crisis, I feel like it's so obvious that that can't be the real answer. Maybe it'll turn out that Tina got addicted to opioids. That would be a bigger plot twist. But yeah, something's going on. Anyway, I mentioned before that I wasn't very familiar with Marja Lewis Ryan's work, but I have seen Six Balloons, which featured a character who was addicted to heroin. That was a story about one family and how they deal with his addiction over the course of one night. But a lot of the things that they encountered, such as trying to go to detox, but they wouldn't take his insurance, and then trying to go to another place and they ran out of beds and it's too expensive to pay out of pocket, and it's so much cheaper to just go off to the corner and get some heroin, and is more accessible. And all of these are real political issues. It's like done in the more intimate and personal way, whereas this is, I don't know how to describe it. As for this story of Bet running for mayor and being a politician, I'm more interested in the actual politics. I'm not interested in the sex scandal in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. The season is still young, but that's just not my thing. I do like Danny's change of heart. I thought that was very interesting. I gotta say, when I was watching, I kept hearing from all of the women whenever Danny was on screen, oh my God, she's so hot, she's so hot. And, you know, they're not wrong. I'm gonna have to leave this quite abruptly because I am going to go to another bar in Oakland. So I'm gonna see episode 2 very soon. Okay, so some stray thoughts. We see Finley, it looks like she's drinking some almond milk or something. So I'm wondering if her character is also gonna be vegan, like her character from Easy.
Because if you're trying to be a vegan, I could show you some shit, some like videos online that will make you a vegan. Like terrible, terrible shit that will haunt your dreams.
I wonder what's going to happen with Angie and Jordy because they are teenagers. And so they might not do the thing where, oh, we've established that Angie has a crush. Next episode, they're going to have sex right away. It's less common to be that fast paced as a teenager versus if you're like 20 or 30 or 40 or 50, you know what I'm saying? And by the way, I do really like that we get like this nice range of ages and more diversity and all of that shit. So I didn't really film a conclusion to that video, one because I had to go, but also because I had a brilliant idea of making that into a 2-parter video where I review both episodes 1 and 2 in the same video. I've been editing and editing away and I cannot get that video short enough, so I thought, oh yeah, I obviously have to split it in half. Why the fuck didn't I think of that? So the good news, if you watch this video and actually liked it and want to see more, there's going to be another one coming pretty soon. I am going to visit my family over in Washington. So if you happen to know of any good watch parties happening in Seattle or Tacoma, the Puget Sound region, let me know. I may or may not attend them, but I'll probably end up watching the L Word by myself in secret. Just like high school again. Great. Let me know how you've been watching the L Word. If you've been watching by yourself, have you gone to any house parties or did you go to bars or are you not watching the L Word and you're just watching videos like this because you don't have Showtime? Let me know.